You know, tucked away in the code of your very own DNA is a story. And it's not just any story. It's an epic tale of survival, of incredible journeys across continents, and of encounters that literally shaped who we are today. It's the story of us, and it began a very, very long time ago.
And it all really starts with a question that feels both super simple and incredibly profound. If you trace your family tree back far enough, and I mean way far back, beyond your great-great-grandparents, beyond any recorded history, where do all those branches meet? Are we all, in some fundamental way, related?
Well, the answer, thanks to modern genetics, is a stunning, definitive yes. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Despite all our incredible diversity on the surface, every single person alive today, you, me, everyone, we all share a common ancestry. We are all the descendants of a small, pioneering group of hunter-gatherers who lived in East Africa tens of thousands of years ago.
So you might be wondering, how on earth do we know that? The clues aren't buried in stone or written in some dusty old text. Nope, they're inside every single one of us, woven right into our shared genetic blueprint. So let's dive into how genetics totally rewrote our origin story. Okay, so scientists can track our species' grand journey by following these amazing little things called genetic markers. The best way to think of them is like tiny inheritable typos in our DNA. And as groups of people moved around and separated from each other, they developed their own unique sets of these little markers. It creates this incredible genetic breadcrumb trail that scientists can literally follow all the way back through time, mapping out the epic migrations of our ancestors across the entire globe.
And by following those breadcrumbs, we can basically rewind the clock and witness the first, and arguably the most important, great journey in all of human history. The moment our ancestors left their African homeland and began to settle the entire planet.
Now here's something you might not know. We, Homo sapiens, actually weren't the first humans to leave Africa. Not by a long shot. Our ancient relative, Homo erectus, did it almost 2 million years ago. But their migrations eventually faded out. The one that kicked off around 70,000 years ago, though, that one was different. That was our journey. That was the one that stuck, the one that led to humans on every single continent.
Which, of course, leads to a massive question. Why? I mean, think about it. This wasn't some planned expedition with maps and supplies. It was a giant leap into a world of unknown dangers, new climates, new everything. What could possibly have driven them to do it?
Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was this perfect storm of pressures and innovations. The climate was shifting all over Africa, making resources like food and water really unpredictable. So our ancestors responded not by hunkering down, but by moving. And their whole hunter-gatherer lifestyle was perfectly suited for this. It wasn't a life of settled places. It was a life of constant motion, always following the food, always adapting. They weren't exploring for fun, they were moving to survive.
But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. As our ancestors moved into places like Europe and Asia, they discovered something absolutely incredible. They were not alone. The world was already populated by other kinds of humans, descendants of those much, much earlier migrations.
So in Europe and Western Asia, they met the Neanderthals. You have to picture this. The Neanderthals were the original Eurasians, powerfully built and masterfully adapted to the cold of the Ice Age. And then there's us, Homo sapiens, the new arrivals, a bit lankier, spreading out from Africa. For thousands of years, two completely distinct kinds of humanity shared the same world.
So what happened when they met? For a long time, we figured our ancestors just came in and replaced them. The end. But genetics, again, revealed a far more intimate, more complicated story. See that number? 1 to 4%? That's the percentage of Neanderthal DNA found in the genomes of most modern humans outside of Africa today.
So the crucial point here is that our history isn't some neat, linear story of one group wiping out another. It's a tangled, fascinating web. We met, we interacted, and yes, we interbred. We literally carry the genetic echo of these other ancient peoples inside of us to this very day.
Now, I know this might feel like ancient history, but these Paleolithic journeys didn't just end tens of thousands of years ago. Their consequences ripple all the way into our modern world, shaping everything from our cultures to our bodies. Let's take a look at how these echoes of the deep past are still defining our present.
This right here is the core idea. Every single path our ancestors took, every mountain they decided to cross, every coast they chose to follow, was like a line being drawn on the very first human map of the world. And that map set the stage for everything that came after.
Seriously, think about it. Ever wonder why there are thousands of different languages and cultures? It's because these small groups got isolated by geography, a mountain range here, an ocean there, on those long journeys. Why are some of us more vulnerable to certain diseases? That often traces all the way back to adaptations made in a specific environment thousands of years ago. So these ancient migrations are the deep root cause of this amazing paradox, our stunning global diversity and our profound underlying unity.
So, as we look back on this immense story, a story that stretches across millennia and across every continent, what's the ultimate takeaway? What does it really mean for us to know that our history is, at its core, a story of movement, of adaptation, and of deep, surprising connection?
You know, maybe it's just a sense of pure wonder. This quote, which is about Neanderthals, reminds us that the human story is so much broader than just our own species. We are the last humans standing, yes, but we carry the legacy of a world that was once filled with different, valid ways of being human. Our shared journey out of Africa is what connects us all, but the echoes of those we met along the way are still with us, a quiet reminder of a much richer, more complex human past than we ever imagined.